Alright, hi guys, it's been a while since I made a video. I wanted to talk today about ethics, meta-ethics, normative ethics. I have some water. And I feel like I made some content. I've also now officially got a very large microphone. It's like obnoxiously big. But I wanted to make some content on ethics, right? Because ethics has been my main area of interest now for months, really. I've been reading a very good book that is just on my shelf right here. It's the Ethics Toolkit, a compendium of ethical concepts and methods. A friend of mine recommended it to me, and I've just kind of been like diving into that head first. I think that it makes sense that ethics interests me so much, insofar as I've been passionate about veganism and animal rights now for a good 2 years, and I just feel as though when we're making some sort of like ethical claim, we're doing philosophy, right? And I've always been someone that's been interested in philosophy, just sort of even independent of knowing that what I was doing was philosophical sort of insight or inquiry, or asking some sort of like epistemological or metaphysical question, right? And I think that ethics is sort of close to my heart because it's so integral to how we live our lives and how we best sort of strive to live the good life, right? You'll have to excuse me as well because the chair I'm on is like not the nicest in terms of audio output. But yeah, I just really wanted to go over ethics. I've got like a paper that I've actually written on meta-ethics. You can tell I'm eager. So let me have a look. So I go in firstly in just labeling out the three branches of ethics. I think that, and this is kind of like, I want to just put a footnote and just say that like I'm doing this for my own learning, active learning, and also because I think it would be interesting to explore ethics together, with whatever audience I may or may not have. So the first branch of ethics is going to be applied ethics. So applied ethics addresses specific ethical problems. So an example would be abortion, right? Animal rights, death penalty, religion, government, freedom of speech, etc. These very fundamental ethical dilemmas and questions on whether we ought sort of promote them or not promote them, etc. The second branch is going to be normative ethics, which is sort of what applied ethics is predicated on, you could say, insofar as it's examining the rules and principles that guide our behaviors, right? And it helps us develop those moral theories that are applied to applied ethics, right? You might have heard of some normative ethical frameworks, such as utilitarianism and deontology, but there's also virtue ethics. I'm a virtue ethicist. That has its roots back in Aristotelian ethics. It's kind of this idea that for anything that we do, we ought be doing it to strive for a better life, right? Philosophy should concern itself with the good life, and it should be predicated on enabling us to flourish and to reduce suffering. But in order to flourish, we have to act in accordance with our virtues, And the Stoics, the ancient Stoics, expanded on this, and they sort of the four cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. These virtues can help guide you to flourish, right, and live a better life, if you think of it as such that it's Aristotle kind of took it that each thing has a purpose and a means to an end, such as a blade's purpose is to cut, right? A cat's purpose is to reproduce, maintain homeostasis, survive, nourish itself. A flower's or a plant's purpose is to get nourishment from the soil, the rain. All of these things are coming together to give it sustenance, right? And that's its nourishment and its flourishing. Obviously, there's a bit more complexity added when we consider, the human condition, because that we have such a great degree of self-knowledge, we have higher cognitive faculties. I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. I just think it's interesting to explore these. I guess I could also just go over the other two quickly. Like utilitarianism is kind of like you might recognize it as like a form of hedonism, with its roots back to Epicureanism. The idea that the classic sort of question of like there's 5 people on the train track, there's 1 person on the train track, you could switch a lever, kill 1 person in order to save 5, you can do nothing, and then all 6 people are going to die, right? Inaction is kind of immoral in that sense. So it's about the action that increases positive utility to the greatest degree, right? But there's many different types, like rule utilitarianism, act utilitarianism, all kind of things. And then third and importantly, meta-ethics, which is what is the meaning of these moral statements that we're making, and can moral statements be true or false, or truth-apt, right? Other objective moral facts. If you're a moral realist, objectivist, then yeah, you think they are moral facts that stance independently true. If you're a moral anti-realist, you think that no, it's just dependent. You're a cognitivist, but you think it's dependent on the culture, the opinion of the person, right? Their preferences, etc. So that's like the first part, and then we get into cognitivism versus non-cognitivism. I know that a lot of these terms seem very, loaded, but there is it will become more clear as time moves on. So I'm just playing with my hair locks, it's kind of annoying me. So the idea in cognitivism is that when I make a statement about the world, I'm expressing a belief about the world, and that statement is either going to be true or false. So something like triangles have 3 sides, we can know this to be true, right? It's necessarily the case that triangles have three sides, right? We know this with a priori knowledge, right? We don't have to go out and do some sort of empirical observation to figure that out, right? So now we can consider something like a moral claim, like murder is always wrong, right? Does this claim express a belief about the world, and is it either true or false? If you're a cognitivist, you'd say yes, it does. Murder is wrong, and it's true or false, right? If you're a non-cognitivist, you're going to say no, it's just expressing an emotion, an attitude, a preference, right? It's purely predicated on some sort of like emotional disposition, right? So I think that I think that's enough for one video. Next, I want to go into the distinguishing factors between moral naturalism and moral non-naturalism. Moore's open question argument, ethical naturalism, which is a view that I hold, and yeah, I appreciate this if anyone watched and got through to the end on this, and if you have any comments or criticisms or anything you want to go over, then I'd be more than happy to respond, and hope this helped, and take care.